I told helicopter shot from Dhoni. But I never hit sixes. I had, I think, 6 or 7 sixes in my entire career. But the 1999 Test match against Pakistan was what a game that was. Yeah, I can't say or divulge what I told to Ojha. The Hyderabadi in me came out.
Of course, it's been a pleasure having Laxman here. He's been a very busy person, and he readily agreed when we said that the editorial staff and some young people in the Hindu would like to meet you, interact with you. And I don't have to, I had written down his stats, but I'm not going to read them here. So we all know what V.V.S Laxman is, and I have had some great memories of Laxman as an under-19 cricketer when we met first in England, 96. And then I have followed his career. I have got many stories to share. I'll definitely share one before we begin. The one story where I was very deeply embarrassed writing on V.V.S Laxman. The 1998 tour to New Zealand.
Okay.
Azhar was captain. So I, Laxman and Azhar, we went for dinner. And it was a long walk because Mr. Azharuddin was not willing to pay for the taxi. So he made us walk. And he kept on saying it's good for fitness. So this thing was around Laxman playing next day. And this was New Zealand, so I could come back, change my copy, and I wrote all about Laxman. When the playing 11 came, there was no Laxman. So that was the only time I went wrong in my preview, and that too writing about him. So Laxman, it's been a great pleasure, the long journey. And once again, very delighted to have you here. To begin with, briefly, I mean, what are your memories of our great organization, the Hindu? Because it has always done well for sports.
I think you use the word great, and I think that's absolutely true. It's indeed a real pleasure, being amidst all of you. Not only for sports person, I always regarded the Hindu media house as probably the most authentic and reliable media house in the whole country. And right from my childhood, even though I became a professional sports person, I don't know how many of you know that in Hindu there was always, every day there was a religious column. Someone used to write, and my father used to make sure that me and my brother used to read that when we were doing our puja. So it was not only about sports, but there are all the other aspects of our society which Hindu beautifully covered. And it's great to be here. I was surprised, when two of your colleagues came to pick me up. I asked how far is the office, and I didn't even realize that it was so close to Chepauk. And I've come to Chepauk so many times, but never ever visited this beautiful organization. And when Vijay called me, this was last Monday, I think. I was here for the first 2 days of the first under-19 game, multi-day game between India and Australia. And then I had to go to Dubai for the ICC Cricket Committee meeting. I met two of your young colleagues there. And they wanted to interview me. And I told I can't because of my contractual obligation. And straight away in the evening, Vijay called and he told me and invited me here. And I told, why not? I think Hindu has played a very integral and important part in my cricketing career, including my autobiography 281 and beyond. And I can't thank enough Vijay and for encouraging me and putting out my stories so beautifully through all the reviews you have done for the book. So I think there's so much to talk about your organization. Only one thing which I would like to emphasize is I've always been a team player. I've always believed that for a team to be successful, for a team to be playing to its potential, getting the desired results, I think every member of the team requires to take a lot of pride being part of the team. So I'm sure all of you have that pride being part of such a beautiful organization named Hindu. I can tell for sure with a lot of confidence that a lot of aspiring journalists want to be part of this organization. And all of you have got an opportunity to be here. All of you have been here for a long time, and I'm sure all of you are very, very fortunate, and all of you take a lot of pride being one of the integral part of this organization. So thank you very much for having me here.
And Lakshman, your book got more publicity in the Hindu than my own book. Yeah, and you have grown with Sportstar also. I mean, it's a wonderful magazine, not because we are all involved. So, any memories?
Oh, I used to read Sunny Bai's comments. I think he's even today. I mean, even now he still writes in his column. So I was just telling to Vijay also when he was coming up, saying that when I watched that in the room where you all brainstorm, you were mentioning about that room, all the cover pages. It used to be a real honor for any cricketer or any sports person to be on that cover page. That means you have achieved something that year. So it's almost like if you had a successful and a very productive year, and that photograph of yours, article about you is written in the Hindu or in the Sportstar, that means that people are actually acknowledging what you have done in that particular year. And growing up, obviously the best photographs, the best articles, the best coverage of sports used to be in the Sportstar. And I know for a fact that I think Sunny Bai used to write his columns. Did Ian Chappell write his columns in Sportstar?
Greg Chappell.
Greg Chappell used to write in Sportstar. So I used to love reading that. And being someone who was a very avid reader, I used to, whenever it used to come out, I used to pick up from the stall and go through the entire Sportstar. And when my photograph, when my career was highlighted in Sportstar, my parents realized that okay, whatever I'm doing is in the right direction. And that was, I think, almost like a justification for them for allowing me to play cricket and take it as a profession. So that was the impact Sportstar and Hindu had on my family.
Yeah, and from your tours, I just want to know any memory you have of any tour which you have carried so far.
A lot of tours, and Vijay Bhai is very modest. He's a very humble person, a very modest person, but on tours, interacting with him, interacting with one of my favorites, V.V.K. It was great. It was great. We were like family, and we almost had a pact that on every overseas tour there was one evening where we used to go to their room, and this V.V.K. used to prepare some lovely South Indian food for us, and we had a great time. So we were. It was the friendship just blossomed as not only mine but our careers progress. And I talk for all the players I played with, and all the overseas tours were memorable. Next day you would have probably even criticized me because of my poor performance on the ground. Doesn't mean that I was hurt, or doesn't mean that our relationship got damaged. But so that was something which I remember. Another article which I really remember was Dicky
Ratnakar.
Yeah, Dicky Ratnakar. He wrote about my 100 at Taunton. This was in 1994, the first 4-day match between India under 19 and the England youth side, and I got 100. And that article, actually, I don't know how it was possible, but my aunt, my father's elder sister, Dr. Kameshwari, she was coming back from US, and she read that in Paris. I don't know how she read in Paris, but it was that article. I scored 119, and that was beautifully written. Another article which was I fondly remember was my 88 not out at Chepauk against the Australia youth team, 1994. I was just mentioning, Mr. Chari, isn't it the photograph of me playing a back foot punch of Matthew Nicholson, and my knock being highlighted by Mr. Mohan. So some wonderful articles have been written about my performances, but what I fondly remember was the overseas tours we used to be part of, and the evenings we used to have spent together.
And I know you talked about tours, but
Yeah,
how was it being a leader in this? What I'm saying
yeah,
is it difficult to be a leader, and how to? You've talked about team, how important it is to play as a team,
yeah.
but in your case, I don't know how many of you know that he was a great batting coach before he took over this responsibility. Batting coach for Zahir Khan, Ashish Nehra, and Harbhajan Singh. So
And they've done well as batters. So I'm very proud of that record. Yeah, I think Vijay is right. This was in 2001 and 2002. Now, I was always a number three batter. Then I started off my international career as a opener, and then I decided in 2000 that I'm not going to open anymore at any level. And then when I got back into the Indian team after a very successful 99-2000 domestic season, I was batting at number six. Now, when you're batting at number six, usually you're batting with one set batsman, and then if he gets out, then you have a wicketkeeper batter who comes and bats with you. If he gets out, then it's the tailenders. I don't like to use the word tailenders because Anil Kumble, all of them will be very disappointed. So lower order batters, and all these bowlers with whom I played, they had a big heart, and I didn't have the ability to hit sixes, and that's what I just mentioned in the rapid fire, questions I was answering, saying that what is one shot which I would love to take from any of my colleagues with whom I played. I told helicopter shot from Dhoni. Like I never hit sixes. I had, I think, six or seven sixes in my entire career. So the opposition captain used to spread the field and he used to give me a single and try to bowl to the bowler and try to get his wicket. And unfortunately, I never used to get too many runs. I tried to hit the big shots. Probably I would manage to get a couple of boundaries and I should throw away my wicket. Then I had to have this chat with John Wright because I had a long chat with Steve Waugh because Steve Waugh also with tailenders, got a lot of hundreds batting with the tailenders. And my philosophy always has been that if I'm in a particular position or if I'm fulfilling a particular role, I would always look up to people who have done that in the past, who were successful at that, either through their autobiographies or through books or when I meet them in person. So I remember having a long chat with Steve O. I understood how, from him, I understood how he was able to manage to get a lot of runs batting with the tailenders. And he also was not a big six hitter. So he told the only way I did that was by empowering and trying to work on the batting skills of my bowlers. So that is exactly what we did, and we made sure that every batter took the responsibility. Because if you're expecting runs from your bowlers, then you had to give them enough time and opportunity to become better as batters. Unfortunately, in the past, whenever we used to have net sessions, all the best bowlers used to bowl to the batters, and by the time the lower order batters or other bowlers used to come for batting, they never used to get good batting practice, and we still expected them to score runs against quality bowlers under pressure. So that was not fair. So John Wright was the coach, and we all had a chat with John Wright. More so me, more for my selfish reason that I wanted to score runs at number six, and then we made a pact saying that every batter should take care of at least one, if not two bowlers. So I took care of Zahir, only Zahir actually. Sachin took care of Baji. Rahul took care of Srinath. I don't know whether Sri took care of Rahul or Rahul took care of him. I'm not sure. So that's something which you can ask Rahul whenever you meet him. So we try to help them. And the way we try to help them was giving them throwdowns at the end of our session, or just to talk about their batting technique or the tactical aspect of batting. And as it turned out, Anil scored some important half centuries. In fact, in 2007, he was the only century maker on our tour in England. Harbhajan, two brilliant back-to-back hundreds, one at Ahmedabad, one at Hyderabad against New Zealand. In Ahmedabad, both of us had partnership. And when we were struggling, 5 wickets for 60 or 70 runs in the second innings against New Zealand. So it felt really good, when these bowlers who had big heart. One thing for sure is all of them had big heart, and they would never ever gift away their wicket, and that was a big plus. But we tried to help them to enhance their batting skills, and because of that great combination of having that big heart and never say die attitude, They scored some valuable runs, and in the bargain, I benefited. And one record which I'm really proud of is at least 50 to 60%. I'm poor with stats, but at least 50 to 60% of my career runs came batting with the lower order batters.
Yeah, and I'll keep one question from me for the end. We can just take some questions, and my only request is that please, he won't be able to answer anything he has requested on BCCI or IPL related questions because he has a contract, and I think we should respect that. Otherwise, you can have any whatever you want to ask about him.
Let's see, elaborating on the Zach equation. What is this uniqueness about this friendship that you have with Zahir Khan? Because I remember a common friend Kaush used to say that when I used to come and interview you on long
Yeah.
roads, so he'll be interviewing you on the dictaphone, and then Zach will come running into the room saying, "Do you see that song?" Or he'll discuss Sholay with you, and
Yeah.
so what is this chemistry?
So again, this was in 2001. In fact, the Kolkata Test match. So when I checked into the Taj Bengal Hotel, I was rooming with Sadgopan Ramesh. So I took the keys from the receptionist and I asked, did Sadgopan Ramesh check in? And she told, "Sir, you're not rooming with Ramesh. Your roommate is Zahir Khan." And I was like shocked to hear that, because Zahir was a junior. I didn't know him so well. Immediately I called John Wright. "John, how can you?" So that was instruction from John to the receptionist that this is the rooming list. So immediately I called John Wright and asked John, "John, how can I, share room with Zahir Khan? I hardly know him. There's a reason I want you to share." Was a reply from John Wright. And as it turned out, the friendship just blossomed. He was totally different to me. And not only Zahir, I would say Harbhajan, Ashish Naira, Sehwag, a lot of guys from that generation of players were totally different to me. But one thing which I really enjoyed was I was able to. The reason I enjoyed their friendship and company was we were all very, very natural. There was no show in the way we used to spend our time together, and we could discuss anything, and everything would be confidential, and we had a great time. Different interests, some common interests because I love music. Zahir loves music. My favorite actor is Amitabh Bachchan. His favorite actor was Amitabh Bachchan. So we had great time together. And I think that's the beauty of playing this sport, because what happens is when you're playing the sport, you get to meet different people from different walks of life. You get to meet unique people who may be totally different to what you are. But as you spend time and understand their strengths, understand their way of looking at life, and accept their way of looking at life, I think that friendship, that bonding, is something which will be lifelong. And a lot of people ask me when I retired from the game, "Do you miss batting or do you miss playing the game?" I said, "No, I don't miss batting. I don't miss playing the game. What I miss is spending time with my colleagues with whom I played the game for a long period of time. The camaraderie, the bonding, the fun we used to have either in the dressing room or in the hotel after the match or during our travels was something which is very, very memorable, and that's something which I miss."
Ayan?
Some of your friends here, they want to know what's your fondest memory of Chennai?
Fondest memory of Chennai. Ah, again, a very special place for me. Because I always enjoyed batting at Chepauk, even though I didn't get too many runs at international cricket. But there was a special feeling batting at Chepauk, and uh, one of the reasons why I felt special was, the crowd which used to come here. They understood. One of the most knowledgeable spectators or crowd in world cricket. They understood their game. At the end of the match, when we used to go, and some of them used to meet us, they exactly spoke how a cricket enthusiast, not a fanatic, but who understands the nuances of the game. So that was great. I spent close to 25 days in the dressing room of Chepauk when I was an under 15 kid, attending the South Zone camp. And then my first, I would say, the way I was recognized, two innings which made me a cricketer where people took seriously was the two half centuries as a 16-year-old I got against the Tamil Nadu under 19 side. I got 85 and 87 against a very good Tamil Nadu bowling attack, and everyone took notice of that. And 88 not out against the Australia youth side. And both these matches were very, very important just for my self belief and also for the people who used to follow junior cricket, that Lakshman had the ability to progress as an international cricketer. And some memorable matches. One match, obviously, we didn't win that game, but the 1999 Test match against Pakistan was what a game that was, And I was lucky to witness one of the best hundreds I've seen in Test match cricket from Sachin. In fact, I was sitting next to him. Always I used to sit next to him at the Chepauk changing room, and after scoring that hundred and losing the match after coming so close, and he was literally in tears, and to see one of the geniuses of the game to not able to accept the defeat was a great learning experience for me. Again, the 2001 Test match, when we won the Test series against Australia, we didn't expect that it would turn out to be a nail-biting finish. That was again a memorable evening for us at Chennai. Viru's triple hundred against South Africa was fantastic. Again, the win against England when Sachin and UV stitched that partnership was phenomenal Test match, and the way Sachin dedicated it to all the Mumbaikars. Chepauk hosted some unbelievable Test matches. Everyone used to talk about Vishy Bai's 94. My uncle, who was my mentor, because of whom I took cricket as a profession, he regarded Vishy Bai as probably the best batter he saw. And I think I was with the new changing room and the new South Pavilion. Other day I was just watching and going through the South Pavilion. They were showing me around, and I saw a little photograph of Andy Roberts bowling to Vishy Bai. There was a photograph of him, I think 94 not out. 97 or 96 not out. So even though I've not seen that Test match, I've heard so much about that Test match. Irubai's dream debut. So there are a lot of historic Test matches played at Chepauk, and I think the crowd here just loves the longer format of the game, and I love longer format of the game.
Srini?
Two questions.
You can sit down. No.
So, you will be the 281 that made your name immortal. But I believe the 160 to 67 you played in innings, equally probably one of the best innings. I think how important is that innings to you? That's the first question.
Yeah.
You spoke about batting in parents in the lower order. You immediately gave me memories of the Test against Australia in which you and Ojha you had also had a runner in that game.
Yeah.
That was probably the only time I saw you really excited on the field.
Excited. I was excited. I was not angry on the field. Always excited playing for the country. That was the first time. We just answered that in rapid fire. Yeah, I can't say or divulge what I told to Ojha. The Hyderabadi in me came out. Yeah, I think it was more the heat of the moment. We came so close, and I think again a lot of life lessons from that Test match, because I think in the seventh or eighth over of the Test match, I got back spasm, and literally I was not able to even walk or sit. My back was like rock. It was so hard. I was not able to sit in one position. Very, very painful. I went out to bat in the first innings. I was just not able to even walk to the pitch. I got out. I think Nathan Orris got me out. Came back. We bowled really well, and it was some 216 or 20 to chase. And we got off to a good start. And I was just hoping that I'll not get to bat, because I was not in any way ready to go out and face the Australian bowlers. And suddenly we lost 2 or 3 quick wickets. And I remember Gary coming and asking me to pad up. And I told Gary, I can't move. I can't stand. I can't bend. How do you expect me to bat? And he told, at some stage you're required to bat. So instead of batting, because in the first innings I went at number 11. So instead of waiting at number 10 or 11, by then, the result would be decided, because we were under pressure. It was the 4th innings of the Test match. Australians were bowling really well. So it might well pad up. So I padded up on the 4th day. And luckily, I think Mohali Vijay and Sachin batted through the evening. And at the end of that day's play, I remember going out to Mohali, the backside, there were nets. and Srishant along with some net bowlers bowled to me, and I batted for 10 minutes. I just couldn't bat, just couldn't move, and I told I can't do this, and went back, removed my pads. I just didn't know how I'm going to walk out the next day and bat. And I remember the whole night, and the whole night I didn't sleep for a minute. I was just thinking, how am I going to even walk to the crease? And as it turned out, I think I don't know whether Vijay got out or Sachin got out. I think Vijay got out, and then I walked out to bat. We had a partnership with Sachin, and then MS came. MS got out immediately, and wickets kept falling. And then Ishan came in to bat, and it was inevitable that we were going to lose game because I was not moving properly. Ishan himself was struggling with his knee. He had the issue with his ITB. He was struggling with his the left part of his left knee. But all we discussed was, can we delay the inevitable? Can we delay the inevitable? And that's exactly what I and we all learned from the 2001 Test match in Kolkata. Is delay the inevitable. Whatever happens is bound to happen. And as it turned out, Ishan was very, very good in his defense. He had a very, very strong defense, and I capitalized on the loose deliveries, and suddenly you could see that the Australians panicking. They're giving away loose deliveries, and we were capitalizing and getting boundaries. And as it turned out, just I think it was 11 runs to go, and Ishan got out, and Ojha came into bat. And Mitchell Johnson was bowling really well. Where I lost my temper was Ojha was obviously confused with Suresh running for me, and I wanted to take strike of Mitchell Johnson. So Ilfano's ball, it was I think the fifth ball of that over, and there was an easy single, but Ojha just got confused and he didn't run. And I didn't want Ojha to take strike. And we all know, whoever saw that replay of that ball hitting the pad, we know what could have happened. What could have happened, and probably would have discussed this. Luckily, he held his nerve because immediately after that, I went apologized. Probably because I saw Ojha growing up in front of me, it just happened. The pain, the situation, and the position we were in, I didn't want to lose that game at all, and that too against Australians. Yeah, so as it turned out, a remarkable and a memorable Test match. 167 again. I told the same thing now. Which was the most memorable apart from 281. There are a lot of memorable knocks. And I was privileged, lucky, and the opportunity was there to play knocks, which meant a lot to me and to the team. Because one thing which always motivated me was to do well when the team was struggling, or when we had to save a match, or when you have to win a match. 167 was a little different because that was the 100 which I desperately needed to prove to myself that I am capable of performing at the highest level. Because I made my debut in 1996, and for 4 years I was in and out of the side, and that was the last opportunity in Australia. I was batting well, but I was just not converting that into any kind of performance. And in fact, I was not going to play the Test match. I was thinking that Devang Gandhi would play the Test match. I got an opportunity to play, and I just went out and just expressed myself, played my natural game. And that 167 against a formidable Australian bowling lineup, the situation, the conditions gave me the confidence that I belong at the international level. And that's why that knock is very, very dear to me, because that gave me the confidence that irrespective of where I'm playing, against whom I'm playing, I can perform at the highest level. So that's why that knock is probably my favorite knock, just from the self-belief point of view. But if you ask me seriously, all the knocks which help the team to win the game or save the game are always special. That's why you play the game, because it's an opportunity to do something for your country. And through the game, if you're able to contribute to the country, it felt great. So I had that opportunity through my career, and forever grateful for that.
And Lakshman, that 167 was like a one-day innings. And you stayed on for the one-day series.
Yeah, don't remind me again of that one-day series. I didn't do well in that one-day series, but yeah, it was like a one-day knock. It helped that Siva was attacking captain, the situation with so many runs. They had in the kitty. They had wicket-taking bowlers. A lot of open gaps, and I loved hitting boundaries. And it had to happen, but I'm glad that why I'm fond of that is when you're in that kind of a situation, and I've been in that situation a lot of times, and that's what something which, when I talk about life lessons, I would like to share with all of you, is it's not going to be rosy always. Always, there will be ups and downs in our lives. If someone says that he's never had a issue, never had an obstacle, never faced failure in their lives, they are not an honest confession. So what you do in that situation is very, very important. I love listening to music.